right, so good afternoon, Professor Karen.
Yes. Good afternoon.
It's so nice to meet you,
You
and
too.
thank you so much for giving your time for us to get to know you better, because this interview is actually for us to learn as much as possible from your own experience from your professional experience before, and also your experience as a professor, as an academia, right?
Yes.
Because we would like to encourage our students here to maybe choose a career path just like what you did before. Okay.
Good.
So this interview will be posted, of course, in our web page and also our social media as well. And then, yeah, as you can see, we are shooting here. So
Yeah.
all right. So let's just start the interview now. So I read that your bachelor degree. I would like to ask you to go back a little bit. So your bachelor degree was advertising and PR.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
So it was from which university?
Universidad Europea, it's like the European University in Madrid.
In Madrid. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm originally Spanish, but I'm half Spanish, half British.
Okay.
So my mom is British. I was born in Spain. I lived in Spain until I was 23.
No. Okay.
So I did my bachelor's over there. And at that time in Spain, there was not marketing as a degree.
Oh, really?
It was, I think there was only
may
one.
I know what time was it? Like
It was 2004 when I
2004.
started. So it was the year before I was looking at what to do for a major. And I really liked advertising and the creative part of advertising. But all the, let's say the 4 years before, so during like my high school, secondary school studies, I did the very scientific route. So I was studying physics, maths, all this kind of chemistry. Because I thought initially my family, we go more to the science side. But then the year before I started university, my brother, who's a bit older, changed the university degrees because he did 1 year and he discovered he didn't like what he did. So then my parents put quite a lot of pressure on me to really understand what I liked and what I didn't like.
Okay.
So I switched from architecture to advertising.
Oh, so you first applied to architecture?
No, I was initially looking at
okay.
universities, thinking I was going to do architecture. But then once my parents really made me think, I thought, well, actually, what I really enjoy and what I would like doing personally as well, I like working with people, I like meeting people and working in teams. And in architecture is a very, let's say, more lonely work. So I told my parents I actually wanted to do advertising and marketing, and I don't think they initially liked that, but they had forced me, well, encouraged me to think. And I think that's something really, really good. And also I think it's very important in life to really be self-aware of what you like, because what you like is what you'll be good at. If you try to force yourself to do something just because you think it's the right choice, or like, you know, the sensible choice, it doesn't mean you're going to be happy or you're going to be brilliant at it. So yeah, that's why I went for advertising, because it was what, you know, made me happy, made me curious, made me, yeah, I thought it would be better for me personally, something I would enjoy more.
Okay.
And yeah, I think my parents are now happy about that decision.
At that time, maybe your parents was a little bit anxious, or because all of them are coming from science background.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I think they thought it was riskier than
riskier.
architecture, but no, now they're happy.
Okay. But that's really cool that your parents actually encourage you to not to do, like take something that you really enjoy doing, right?
Yes.
So that you have the sense of responsibility of your own choice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was a very good of them.
Okay, very good. Okay, so after that, if I may know, did you had a professional experiences first after you finish your bachelor, or you continue right after bachelor go to master?
I went to the industry, so I worked in TV advertising. for 2 years in Madrid.
In Madrid?
Yes. And that was really, really cool. Great experience. I love all this TV set
Okay,
thing.
cool.
Yeah. Very nice people as well. And after that, I moved to the UK because in Spain it was the time of the financial crisis.
So that means around 2008.
2008, yeah, 2008,
2010.
2010. So there was less and less investment in TV advertising. Everything was moving to internet spots, like TVs.
That's also the time where everyone's like...
Yes.
Yeah,
so the budgets were going from like really big budgets to really small budgets. So the whole industry was struggling a bit, especially in terms of TV advertising. So I decided to like look for something new, and I moved to London, where I tried to find a job in marketing, but that was really hard, not having any experience, no education in the UK. And that's why I decided to do a master's, because I always wanted to learn more and, you know, continue my education. But I think that London environment was very competitive, so I thought, okay, this is the moment to like up my game, do a master's, learn a bit more, get something in the UK, and then get a better job.
So you decided to took a master degree in marketing, marketing science,
international marketing management.
International marketing management. Why that specific field?
I thought it was marketing. I think because it was what I initially was drawn to. So it was advertising and marketing. Marketing to me was the more scientific part of, you know, the advertising industry, and so I didn't know. I hadn't studied marketing per se, and I thought, okay, this is what I want to do. And the international angle I thought was very interesting. I wanted to learn more about how all the cross-border relationships, cross differences, and then consumer behavior cross-culturally I thought was fascinating, and I wanted to learn more. And then I chose the University of Leeds because I knew it was really good. I had been looking at rankings, and I knew it was a great place with great scholars, great professors. So I thought, okay, this is the place to go for me.
Okay. So when you did your master in Leeds, what did you learn the most, do you think? What did you learn the most?
I think academically, I became fascinated with consumer behavior, especially international consumer, cross-cultural consumer behavior. And what I discovered that I wasn't initially seeking, but I discovered a whole new world, was with market research. Like, you know, how to really make better marketing decisions, data-driven marketing decisions. It's something that I knew basically nothing about before. I was like, okay, now I understand everything, you know, when the light goes on. So that was academically. And then personally, I think working with different people from different countries, it was the first time in my life I was working in a team where I was the only Western person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a lot of people from Thailand, from China, from India. We were only a few Europeans and Americans. The large majority were, you know, more Eastern cultures, and I thought
very diverse.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. I learned so much, you know, from different cultures rather than just academic stuff.
Yeah, so it's not only academic that you got from that study, right? So you got all the interactions, how to connect with others, how to work with different people.
Yeah, it was really challenging at the beginning, I think, because personality-wise, I think we had a very different approach to work and to communication. So that was again something I didn't expect. That it was fascinating. Really good.
So do you think you got any do you think you see that as a challenge, or do you see that as your beneficial things that you got from this?
I think it's a great benefit. I think it's a great benefit, and I think many people that haven't been in that kind of context, they're missing out on something so great. It's really, it opens your mind a lot. And I've always loved traveling and meeting different people and visiting different countries and seeing different cultures, but it's different when you actually have to produce a piece of work with different people. So it was great.
Oh. So can you say that it's really important for us students here to leverage our condition where we had many different cultures, many different people? Do you think that's really important?
Yeah, I would, I know, we all do this, right? If you observe people in groups, people tend to go with similar others.
Yes.
And, you know, you see groups of, I don't know, for example, Chinese that come together or Indians that come together because that's what they naturally do, and it's very easy to get along with people who are similar. But I actually think you should be trying to pick all different, or as many different as you can, because that, you know, this diversity will produce better work.
Better work, you mean during the work or after?
Both. Both. Because I think with a certain level of conflict will bring out good ideas and better results. And when we think differently, we also challenge each other more. And it's also beneficial in terms of how do you overcome this challenge and how do you communicate with someone else. And yeah, I think it's better for the quality of the work itself, so that project, but then you also gain so much as an individual.
Okay, that's really insightful. So after you finish your master, you continue your professional experience, no?
Yes, yeah. I went back to the industry, so they kind of hinted a PhD, and I didn't fancy it because I came, as I was saying, I came to the UK to work.
Yes.
I thought, okay, I've done my master's, now I'm going to work.
Yes.
I really wanted to do that. So I went back into the industry. I did actually my thesis, so my end of year project. I didn't do an academic one. We had the opportunity to work with companies as well instead. So I chose to do that because I thought, okay, this will build my CV.
Yes.
And at the time I was thinking, this was 2010, 2011 when I did my master's. And it was the time when digital marketing was booming.
I see.
So I thought, I'm going to do a consultancy project, and I selected a London agency to do a social media consultancy project with them. So I learned a lot about digital, not only digital marketing, it was more social media marketing and social media analysis tools. So I did that over the summer. And at the end of the project, I had some really good experience. I met some really good people, but I decided I did not want to do digital marketing because it wasn't something I found so interesting. I knew it was I knew it was a sensible decision to go in there, but also I was finding that it was quite niche at the time, and I thought if I get a job in this, probably, and speaking to people in the industry, they said it's very easy to just find another job doing the same. And I thought, well, I don't want to be doing social media for the rest of my life. So I better not get in there directly because I don't really like it that much.
After how long you get into that decision?
It was
like thought that, oh, this is not me.
The summer. It was the summer.
Oh, it was the
so
summer.
Yeah, it was 3 months, and by the end of the 3 months, they were very intense 3 months because I was working. So I was doing an academic piece based on the work with the agency. So the academic piece for the university, and then the agency had asked me to prepare some reports for their clients. So I was doing both things at the same time, and it was very intense, but it was enough for me to understand this is not going to be me forever. So that's why I started looking at different jobs in the UK, and I really liked brand management, and I saw an opportunity came up in the European hub for Mars as a brand management position. So that was a long interview process. It was over 2 months, but I eventually got the job. I was doing other interviews and seeking other opportunities in the meantime. But that one was like, okay, this is it. This is so interesting. So I went to do that job for 2 years. It was an incredible experience. I learned so much working with great people. And then after 2 years, again, I realized I didn't really, the job was amazing, but I didn't really fit in with the philosophy of fast-moving consumer goods. And also I found personally the corporate environment wasn't really me. Again, so I moved to the agency side, so a very creative position that again met with one of my initial thoughts before I studied advertising. I always thought I wanted to work in a super creative place. So that was like, okay, fulfilling one of my dreams. And I did that for, what, about 4 years?
In the brand agency?
In the brand
management agency?
Brand management I did for 2 years, and then I went to the creative agency for another 4 years.
Another 4 years,
yeah, and that I had so much fun. It was a great job, very intense, again, really long hours. And then during that time, most of my work was for Nike. So I was working with Portland, so with the US offices. So that's where they have the global.
The global hub, right?
Yeah. And being in the UK, there's a big time difference, which is why as well we did so long hours, because we were working while they were sleeping, and then when they woke up, we would present the work, and then we'd give it back to them for the day, and before they went to bed, they briefed us, so it was always working around the clock. Very cool, but yeah, very intense. And working with Nike is when I came up with the idea of my PhD. And although I didn't go straight, I had this idea in my head for a while, and it wasn't, I think, until the 3rd year of working there where I decided I wanted to do a PhD, because I didn't find that job, although it was really cool, we had a lot of fun, it wasn't intellectually stimulating for me anymore. I felt like I had stopped learning. And this is why I thought, okay, it's time to go back, do a PhD, continue learning. And that's when I really decided to go for the academic path.
Oh, that's amazing. So in PhD, so your PhD, you mentioned about your experience with in the agency, working with Nike, global Nike. So that means you are working in the sports brand management. So your PhD was related to that? Or?
Yes, yeah. So my PhD was looking at how social contexts influence how people exercise in terms of how they perform exercising, so how much you do, and how happy they feel while exercising with the eventual, so what I wanted to get out of that is to help people better integrate exercise in their lifestyle to do more exercise, be healthier and be happier.
So how does it connect your PhD with, because your background is very commercial, I can say.
Yes,
everything is very commercial divisions, right? Yeah. So and then commercial divisions, and then suddenly now PhD you want to know about
consumer behavior.
Very specific consumer behavior. So how do you connect it with your field, of course?
Yeah, so basically when I came up with this idea was because doing everything for Nike, and I mean everyone's seen Nike advertising, a lot of it, especially for performance products, if you look at like running trainers or gym gear, it's all about training more, doing better, overcoming barriers, doing, like, it's kind of very achievement oriented. And I still do a lot of it. I do exercise every day, but I do it because I enjoy it and I want to continue enjoying it. And I felt like, okay, if I keep on having this performance mindset, there's going to be one point where I can't do anymore. And there was one point I was running 10, 11, 12 kilometers a day. How much can you run a day? I can't keep on running more every day, right? Because I have to work. So I thought, well, maybe this is not the right solution for everyone. And maybe it's about also enjoying it and making friends along the way. So this is why I thought about it in the sense of social networks, for example. How do they almost create this competition between users of brand communities? And also when you think about gyms, and gyms is where I did my data collection. I did field studies in a gym, and I observed how putting different kinds of people together, there are different outcomes in terms of how people perform at the gym, so how many calories you burn, and how happy they feel at the end of the gym session. So that has implications for service design, basically. How do you, as a gym, recommend people where to go, what classes to sign up to, based on what you want to get out of it?
Okay. So that actually what you're gaining insights from the consumer side about what do they behave when they exercise, and then after that you can gain insights for the business practitioners, something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
That's really cool. So you did this PhD study back in Leeds, again, right?
Yes, correct.
That's in Leeds. Okay. So that's the topic. So you mentioned consumer behavior. You researched in the gym. You did it. You did it only in UK or also your?
It was only in the UK. I had the opportunity. Well, I fought for the opportunity to doing those field studies in the gym we had at the university. Okay. So I had a lot of students. I think about 75% of my sample were students. The rest were professionals, and some of them were academics as well, simply because of the setting. It's easier. The gym is on campus, so most of the people that go are somehow related to the university. So I had a lot of UK students, but I also had quite a lot of international students in there, or international academics who live in the UK.
Oh, okay. So can you elaborate more? What kind of challenges when you did this PhD study? It was for how many years ago?
It was, so I finished in 2020.
You finished 2020?
I started 2016.
2016.
Yes. The main challenge, I think, for me was doing these field studies, because I thought, especially with something like exercise, I don't want to ask people, how did you perform? Because that's not going to be a real answer. I want to see how you perform, and see, once you've done whatever you've done, how happy you say you are. Okay. So I really wanted to do them, for validity, doing them in the field, in a gym, observing real objective behavior. And also I like the idea of working with an actual gym or a company. I worked with both a company, a heart monitor, so wearable fitness company, and the gym, so that I could also help them on the way. I do research because I need to do research, but I also want my research to help someone. Consumers, yes, eventually, but companies, help you do your job better. But in setting up these studies, there was a lot of rounds of presentations to this person and this person and this person, because I needed basically for them to put the money down to do the studies. I didn't have, as a student, I had some money from the university, but it wasn't enough. So I did presentations and I convinced them to fund the study. And then there were a lot of delays because the gym needed to provide the space, so we needed to find times, and then I needed to recruit all these participants. So it was all a bit challenging, definitely worth it, but there were a lot of unexpected things. For example, in the first weekend I did the study, I expected 100 people, and then it started snowing like crazy.
Oh, okay.
And then only 40 people turned up, and and then I had to like start again and do it again. And the second study I did, it was a longitudinal study for over 2 months.
Oh, longitudinal study for 2 months.
Yes, so I had 250 participants
Okay.
coming to the gym.
Regularly,
every
with the
week.
schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically the night before the study started, the technology still wasn't working.
Okay.
And I was on the phone and on the emails with these two companies trying to get to talk to each other and trying to find solutions. And it was a bit hectic, but it was really good. It was really good.
So the data you collected is not only how to say, like the consumer's response, the participants' response. It's also like physical responses.
Yes.
Like from the measurement of the heart rates and everything.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And also it's longitudinal study. So So how do you keep all of those participants coming on schedule?
Yeah, well,
did it work?
It did work. It did work. I got some really good. I thought there was a dropout. So
for sure.
Yeah, there was a certain amount of dropout, and people who just stopped coming. But with the type of statistical analysis I do, I can account for that missing data. So it's not, it's okay. But I think. I just kept going, even if things went wrong. Okay, I continue doing what I'm doing, or like in the case of that first study, not the longitudinal, the other one, I just go again. I do it again. Just keep going. Okay. But the data itself is really good, really interesting. So definitely worth it.
Worth it for all the stakeholders.
Yes.
Not only you, but also all the other.
I still
partners.
So the two companies I did that study with, I still work with them in other research projects.
After you finished this PhD.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
so
really cool.
It's good.
So after PhD, you decided to be in academia, or
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
why?
Academia is great. Academia gives you, I think for me, the most important thing about academia is that you always learn more. So part of being a good academic is keeping yourself up to date with types of statistical analysis, with research in the field, in all fields. So part of your job is to learn and read, which is, I think, interesting. It's something you don't get in other jobs so much. And then it gives you a lot of flexibility as well in terms of, work-life balance. So in terms of the hours you work, it's, as long as I do my job, I can more or less, if I don't go to the office one day until 11, it's okay. No one's going to knock on my door. But the better flexibility, most important for me, is on what I work. So I can choose what topics I do research on and who I do that research with. And that could be anyone in the world. So I can come here today, meet someone and start a project with them. You don't get this in other jobs. In most jobs, you are told what you have to work on and who you have to work with. And that's what I always had before. And sometimes you're lucky and you work with people you really like, but other times you're not. But in academia, most of the time, especially all research, you can work with whoever you want, which is great.
And it's not only in one place.
It's
just like what you're doing right now, right?
Yeah,
here.
I'm here. Like, what job
in another part of the world, and then you see another people, and you can work with them.
Exactly. It's great. It's great.
That's really great. So you decided to be in academia after PhD, or even before PhD, you already know, okay, this is my thing. I will continue to be in academia.
Yeah, I when I started the PhD, it was a conscious move to stay in academia, because I had friends who were doing a PhD or were academics in the University of Leeds, and I could see what their job was like, how they lived. So I thought, that's the life I want.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so now you are also a professor in Leeds, right?
Yes.
In Leeds University in marketing.
Marketing
management. as a professor, how can you describe your research experiences right now? Maybe just like what you explained before in terms of shaping your current interest, because now you're focusing on. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your research focus is in sports management, sports.
So my initial PhD topic was about more exercise and health and happiness, but very focused on the exercise context. As I have developed over these past few years, I'm looking more at well-being overall. So yes, exercise and health and happiness are part of it. So like, let's say the physical health component, but also I'm looking at well-being from more a mental sense perspective and well-being in terms of society. So I'm looking at how we as either consumers or employees and companies can make decisions that lead to a better world in terms of making other people happy, making yourself happy, being in peace. Sustainability is something that I've been doing some research on and I keep on doing because I think it's very important. The same as with exercise, it's a virtuous behavior. So it's something that is good for you and good for others. And it's not necessarily effortless at the beginning, but you need to keep doing it because once you get hold of it, it's not so much effort and it's so much better for you and for the rest of the world. So yeah, things in terms of well-being overall and creating a better world is what I want to do.
That's really cool. Okay, so now I would like to go a little bit about career path advice.
Okay.
Because our viewers are most of us are students here, so your career choice as an academia, you already talk about it, and then you finally decided to choose to continue as an academia. Can you say and then of course you already mentioned about the advantages, but I want to know what's the disadvantage? Of course,
well,
right?
There's
always like
there's always
yes.
in every single job there will be
every
advantages and
single job.
disadvantages.
Correct.
I think disadvantages of academia is if you want to do research, if you want to be on the research track, you are asked to publish, and publishing is not easy.
It's not easy.
And you have to deal with a great amount of rejection. So you need to learn to live and cope with that. And that's fine, you know.
Great amount of rejection.
Yes, there is a lot of rejection, but it's okay. You just remember, okay, this is not me. You know, this is just a paper, a project, and how do we fix it? And many times reviewers, when they have this rejection or they have negative comments, they have a point. You know, if you think about it as an observer, as an external, you like look at it from outside, you see, okay, well, this is true. So dealing with rejection is one. The other worst part of life in academia is marking. Teaching, I have 300 students.
300 students.
300 students, and I have occasionally a lot of hours of teaching, but I don't mind it because I really enjoy it and I love seeing students engaged and learning and interested. That's great. Marking is the bad part. So now I have 300 students that submit a 3,000 word assignment.
Wow. Okay.
At the end of this month. So I have to mark all of these.
All of them.
That's not going to be that easy, but I'll do it.
That's a risk.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You know, it's one time a year, and that's okay.
But as a researcher, you mentioned rejection.
Yeah.
So rejections, you have to. So, how do you build your own resilience as a person to cope with these rejections as a researcher? How did it build? How do you build that?
I think I try to always not make it personal. So don't think this is a criticism against you as a person. This is just a piece of work.
Okay.
And if there is a criticism, I tend to think, not always, but 95% of the times, there is a solution, there is a way to improve it. If you are able to understand that you can learn, you can make it better. So if, you know, it's just, if you don't make it personal, if someone points out a flaw in something,
Yes.
just, okay, accept it and make it better. And then you'll be proud of a better piece of work. So this is what I always try to remove myself. So if you get like a paper revisions, or you send an assignment, a piece of work to your professor, and they give you some bad feedback, just don't take it personally. Just think about it cold. If you're angry or if you get upset, close the computer, go away, go for a walk, and then come back fresh and just look at it, you know, as an observer, and think, okay, is there a problem here? How can I make it better? Let's do it. Don't think about it too much, just make it better. So what I mean, don't think about it, I mean, don't ruminate in that pain, let's say, or that, because
don't let it consume you too much.
Yes,
right?
exactly, exactly, yeah. Focus on the solutions, not the problems.
Yes, it's just a way to make it
better. Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. Okay, so oh yeah, I want to go back a little bit because I'm interested. You said that you are now focusing on well-being in general, so that also includes about sustainability. Yeah. So how does it relate? Can you give us an example about this specific topic of yours? How does it relate in terms of sustainability, well-being in the consumer?
What do you mean? Sorry, how does it relate?
Because before it was about personal well-being.
Yes.
Consumer personal well-being. And then you also mentioned that it relates with the sustainability. We all need to keep our world in a better place. Yeah. So how does it really relate?
How does it relate?
Yeah.
Well, I think part of societal well-being is that we are all better as individuals. And if I think about health, for me, health also includes being able to be in beautiful, natural places, which we are as a humans, we are ruining. So it's about making sure that we keep the world healthy as well as ourselves healthy. You know, and a healthy world has animals, green spaces, resources that we can keep a hold on. Also, I think in terms of health, a lot of the problems that relate to bad health, for example, obesity, is related to consumption. So, you know, if you consume less, you're actually doing something better for the environment. Cycling, for example, or running to places instead of taking the car. That's healthy and that's sustainable. So it's a win-win. So I think there are some, I don't know, to me, some very clear links. And I'd see it more in terms of, or the research that I'm doing around sustainability is not in terms of, for example, eco-friendly products or recycling. It's about avoiding consumption, reusing products, or actually doing more personal effort instead of economic effort, let's say.
So it's more personal focused, right? The consumer focused, can I say?
Yes.
Yeah. From the consumer point of view.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can we say that that's your current research interest going on right now? Around this area?
Yeah, I've got, so I'm doing some projects on both, like exercise still, because I've been working with these two companies.
Ongoing now?
Yeah, well, I haven't had the time to write the papers, but I actually done the research with these companies. So I'm still working on that side. I'm working on both with different people. But I've got several projects going on between, well-being, exercise, and sustainability.
Oh, that's really nice. And this research is happening just in UK, or do you also plan to have research here? Maybe in Asia?
I am having research here as well. Yes, yeah. So
wait,
data collection
is it in Taiwan or
in Taiwan?
Asia?
Yes,
Taiwan.
So we're doing a study in a gym now here.
Oh wait! Oh really?
Yes.
And Tejedor Gym or?
No, World's Gym.
World Gym.
Yes,
okay,
so we're working with them as well now at the moment.
Oh.
With another longitudinal study.
Oh.
With a member of your faculty.
Oh, so you're gonna go back and forth.
I hope I will come back.
Okay.
I hope I will come back. Yeah.
You just started or?
We started last month.
Last month.
Last month.
Longitudinal study, so still a long
yes,
time.
Yeah. Another month. Another month.
Another month to go. With the World's Gym here in Taiwan.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Any other plan about your research plan here in Taiwan or maybe in Asia?
I hope so. I'm open to connections and new topics. I think at the moment I need to focus a little bit and finish what I'm doing because there's always a chance I get really excited when I meet new people and speaking about new projects. And I do have some other things in mind that I would like to do. But I've got several projects still that I need to finish and actually do most of the work on, so that I need to focus.
Okay. So can you say that that's also one of the... It's also beneficial, but it's also challenging, no? When you're connecting with a lot of people, of course it's beneficial for you. But it's also... you have to focus, right? You have to finish ABC before starting GEF. Right?
It's hard for me.
How do you cope with that?
I don't know. I think you have to realize just when it's time to put your head down and do it. I don't know. I think I have a colleague who I'm now going to start a project with. But I contacted her, I think about 2 years ago with this idea, and she actually told me, we were WhatsApping. So she said, actually, I really want to work with you, but at the moment, I've promised myself I'm not going to start anything else until the end of the year because I need to finish what I'm doing. So I think those words echo in my head at the moment when I get excited about new things. So I think there's good people that do it, and I think we have to learn from good people.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, that's really insightful. So to wrap up our interview, I'd like to ask your advice for the students here, or maybe researcher, or maybe PhD students, whomever that will be watching our video, about their career choice, because you did professional side, right? Professional side, yes, and then now you're in academic side. What one or two key sentences that you can give them about their career choice? What should they think? What should they have in their mindset?
I would say do what you're really passionate about. Yeah, find something you really, really love. Even if you think at the moment it's a hobby, not a career, you can make it a career. So, you love music. Okay, find something in the music industry. Or you love cinema, find something in the cinema industry. It doesn't need to, you don't need to guide your decisions by what is expected from people who graduate in your masters, Do whatever you like, because this is what you're going to be really good at. And also, I would say, listen to your personality. So what kind of things do you like? Do you like working alone? Do you like working with people? Do you like numbers, or do you not like numbers? Okay. So this very basic things that shape the everyday of a job, I think are quite important, because, your job, okay, it's not your life, but it is going to be a lot of hours of your life.
Yes.
So it's better to do something that you really enjoy, because that's what's going to make you way more successful.
Okay, so it's more like know yourself better. What do you like?
Yeah.
And what you're good at, what you're not good at. So
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
there you can make your decision
Yes.
responsibly.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Exactly. That's
cool.
what I would say.
Okay, thank you so much. I guess thank
Thank
you so
you,
much,
Fabian.
Professor Karen, for your time.
Thank
it
you.
was really insightful. We got a lot of messages. We can learn a lot from your experiences, I guess.
Yes.
So thank you so much. So I hope
Thank you.
we can see you again in the near future.
I
in
hope
a
so
different
too.
circumstances.
Yes. Thank you very much for the
Thank you
invitation.
so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Prof.